Okay, here we are, chapter 16, thermochemistry, has to do with nothing else but heat, okay, and heat and how it works with chemical reactions, the heat changes that occur during chemical reactions. Makes sense if you think about it because thermo means heat. Some other terms that you're going to need to know are energy, chemical potential energy, what the definition of heat is, and a very important thing to take note of there is that the symbol is either Q or delta H. So I'm sure you'll have those in your vocabulary list. So let's think back to earlier on in the year when we talked about the law of conservation of matter, the law of conservation of mass. There's also the law of conservation of energy. It says the same thing. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes forms. It's transferred from one form to another. Okay, and we're going to be focusing on what's known as a system. Okay, the system and the surroundings and the universe. So when you're focused on one part of the universe, usually it's the container in front of you, or let's say the chemical reaction that is going on in front of you is something burning, a fireplace. That would be the system. The surroundings is obviously everything that's around that chemical reaction. If you put those two together, then we call that the universe. So typically we as human beings or scientists are part of the surroundings, and we're focusing on the system. I mean, we could be a system and the surroundings are around us. There are chemical reactions that go on in our body. But the point is that it's just all about what are you focusing on, okay, when you're discussing a particular chemical reaction. Where is it? That is the system. Everything else around it is the surroundings. Put those two together, we call that the universe. Okay, so if you're thinking that you're the system, I guess you could say yes, the universe does revolve around you. So there's two kinds of processes that involve heat, endo and exothermic. Endothermic is when heat is absorbed, so that Q, that symbol for heat, would be a positive number since it's being added into the system. Exothermic means heat is being lost from the system to the surroundings, so therefore Q would be a negative number. You're losing heat, therefore your Q is going to go down. Okay, so that's why it's a negative number. So if a heat change was less than 0, heat is going from where to where? Think about that for a second. So you should have said it's going from the system to the surroundings, okay? Because if it's less than 0, that's a negative number, and heat is being lost in that case. So when you talk about heat, you have to talk about it in units, just like we talk about units of volume are liters, units of length are meters. The heat units are calories. Okay, that's one of the most common unit for calories. And you've heard of calories because we all eat food every day. But what you have to realize is that a calorie with a lowercase c, of course, is different than a calorie with an uppercase C, a capital C. So the capital C calorie is actually a kilo little c calorie. Can you keep all that straight? Which is 1,000 calories. Okay, so a calorie is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of pure water by 1 degree Celsius. So basically what we're saying is that we're defining the calorie as the amount of energy it takes to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So that's how we've defined that. Okay, so it's based on pure water. That's what a calorie is based on. So if you had 10 grams of sugar that has 41 calories, that's actually 41,000 little c calories that would be released when that sugar is burned, either biologically in your body or you could burn it on a stove or something like that. And so what that means is that if you had 1 gram of pure water, you could raise it by 41,000 degrees Celsius with the heat released by that sugar. Or if you had 41,000 grams of sugar, you could raise it by 1 degree Celsius or anything in between that. Okay, so 41,000 calories, little c calories, is how many? Is basically 41 calories as we know them in sugar. Okay, with the capital C. So when you're eating that bag of chips, that's 160 calories. You're actually consuming 160,000 calories of heat. Okay, your body will produce that much heat when it burns biologically that food in your body. Let's take a little brain break and see if you can't figure these brain breaks out. Okay. Of course, there are other units, because what would chemistry be if we couldn't convert from one unit to another using dimensional analysis? I know you're all so excited to do that. So a calorie, of course, can be converted into a joule. 1 joule is a very, very small thing. It's 0.2390 calories. I find it easier to memorize that 4.184 joules equals 1 calorie. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so memorize that conversion. 1 calorie is the same as 4.184 joules. Another term that you're going to need to keep track of is heat capacity, which is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of an object by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so heat capacity is related to mass. It makes sense. This is very logical if you think about it. If I had a cup of water versus a whole swimming pool, which one is going to take more energy to heat up? Which one has a greater heat capacity? I could raise the cup of water by 1 degree Celsius quite easily. Probably with a match, I might even be able to get a little bit of water up by 1 degree Celsius. But if you hold a match underneath a swimming pool, it ain't going to do anything. Okay, so you need a lot more heat energy to raise the the bigger mass by even 1 little degree Celsius. It always makes me think of the time that my sister and I begged and begged and begged my dad to heat our swimming pool up for Christmas break. Okay, for Christmas Day, actually, we wanted to go swimming. He had to turn it on 3 days in advance of Christmas, the heater, and it ran and ran and ran for 24 hours. Okay, we swam in the pool for 30 minutes on Christmas Day. 10 years later, my dad says to me, you know that one time at Christmas when you really, really wanted me to heat up the swimming pool? And I said, yeah. He said, it cost me $700 to do that year. So that's a lot of gas. That's a lot of energy, is the point, to heat up a large swimming pool just by probably 30 degrees Celsius maybe was how much it was. Whereas a little cup of water, much smaller heat capacity. Okay, but I digress. Okay, specific heat sounds very much like it's the same thing as heat capacity. Specific heat is the amount of heat required to raise 1 gram of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. So it's specific to a substance. Water has a specific heat. Every substance has its own different specific heat. So however much energy it takes to raise 1 gram of that substance by 1 degree, that's a specific heat. It's different from heat capacity because heat capacity was all about, it's based on mass. The bigger it is, the more energy it takes to heat it up, okay, by 1 degree Celsius. We're saying we have exactly 1 gram. It's not a varying mass. And you can use that to figure out other calculations. So enthalpy is a fancy word for the change in heat. Q is an amount of heat. Delta H, which is enthalpy, is the change in heat. How much energy is transferring from one place to another. So in an exothermic reaction, we know that heat is released from the system to the surroundings. It's going to be a negative number in that case because we're losing heat. Endothermic reactions, on the other hand, absorb heat, so delta H or enthalpy is going to be a positive number. And you can use the heat equation to calculate what delta H is. And here it is. Yes! Q, which is the same as delta H, is equal to mass times the change in temperature times specific heat. So it's basically just another Algebra 1 problem. They're going to give you 4 of the variables, or they're going to give you 3 variables and solve for the 4th one. Okay, so Q is the amount of heat absorbed or released. It has to be in joules or calories. M in this case is mass. Delta T is the change in temperature. For this, we're going to use degrees Celsius, not Kelvin, okay? Unless the specific heat is in Kelvin. So the point is that you have to make all the units match up. That's the important part. So C or CP is the specific heat. The only one that I'm going to make you memorize is the one that's for water, which is 1 calorie over grams times degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's its unit. Let's write that out. So C, which is the same as CP, they're the same thing. For water, is 1 calorie over grams times degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's its unit. So since we know that 1 calorie is 4.184 joules, we could also say that it's 4.184 joules over grams times degrees Celsius. How much energy must be absorbed by 20 grams of water to increase its temperature from 45 degrees Celsius to 90 degrees Celsius? As always, you're going to want to make a list. Delta H equals mass times the change in temperature times the specific heat. And make a list of everything that you know. Do we know how many calories there are? Nope, that's what we're looking for. Calories, energy. Okay, so question mark. Do we know the mass? Yep, 20 grams. Do we know the change in temperature? Well, it's going from 45 to 90 degrees Celsius, so that's a change of 45 degrees Celsius. And since we're talking about water, we know the specific heat is 1 calorie over grams times degrees Celsius. It just said how much energy. It didn't specify whether we were having calories or joules, so you can just pick one. It doesn't really matter. Okay? Then you just plug and chug into your equation. Delta H equals mass times the change in temperature times specific heat. So that's 20 grams times 45 degrees Celsius times 1 calorie over grams times degrees Celsius. And you'll notice that thanks to that unit, we get things to cancel out that we don't need anymore. So grams cancels, degrees Celsius cancels when you multiply these together. So when you multiply them together and get your final answer, 20 times 45 is 900, and the unit that we're left with is calories, because grams and degrees Celsius is canceled out. Okay, so here's another example to try. This time, of course, I want you to pause the video, try it on your own, then come back and see if you're right. Okay, so our formula still is delta H equals mass times the change in temperature times specific heat. So delta H, in this case, that's what we're given. 45 joules, that's a change in energy. So remember, H is in calories or joules. So we're given 45 joules. The mass we're given as 19 grams. The change in temperature, we're going from 10 degrees Celsius to 27.5 degrees Celsius. So that's a change of 17.5 degrees Celsius. And we're being asked, what is the specific heat of gold? So we're going to put our question mark right there. So our formula, delta H equals mass times change in temperature times specific heat. 45 joules equals 19 grams times 17.5 degrees Celsius times the specific heat. So we're going to divide both sides by 19 grams times 17.5 degrees Celsius. So this cancels with this cancels with this. So we're left with CP equals 0.135, and our unit is joules over grams times degrees Celsius. Joules over grams times degrees Celsius. That makes sense because that is a unit for specific heat. Your two choices in units for specific heat are joules over grams times degrees Celsius or calories over grams times degrees Celsius, or any form of a heat over mass times temperature. Okay? So it could be calories over kilograms times Kelvin or something like that.